Hi, and welcome to Magento Mechanics course on learning how to develop for Magento. This course we're going to aim on teaching principles instead of just pieces of knowledge. So this way we can actually apply this information everywhere we are in our Magento training and development. So let's get started here. In this lesson we're going to learn how to, the first thing we're going to do is learn how to change the logo. As we know, the first thing, let me just pull up our website here. Let me put this full screen. As you can see, I have over here a vanilla flavored Magento installed. This is actually 1.7.02. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to change this logo here and to a custom logo that we have. The reason we're going to do that is because the first thing we do when we get a site is we want to make it ours. We want to make it, look like our site. And the first thing we could do is change our logo, but really this idea really will apply to any image you want to change in your site. So in order to do that, we'll have to talk about a few stuff. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the admin section of the site so that we could change this logo. I'll show you soon what we're going to do. The first thing we want to know in order to change this logo is we need to know what theme this is in. The way Magento works is that Magento allows you to have multiple themes, so you could change the look and feel of your site without having to recode it every time you want to change it. It kind of separates the logic from the skin or the theme, from the look and feel. Therefore, we need to find out first which theme we're using. So the way to do that is we go to System and Configuration here, and we go over here to Design. Now, besides theme, we also need to know which package it is. The idea behind the package is that Magento allows you to have multiple themes within a certain package. The idea of the package is pretty simple. Let's assume you're going to have a week-long sale on your site. So most of the look and feel of your site is going to stay the same. You're just going to have a few banners that are going to be different, maybe a few CSS tweaks to make the design look a little different. But most of the site's still going to be using the same CSS, the same images. So in order to do that and make life a lot easier, instead of having to copy the whole theme, what you do is you have a package, and in that package you have a default theme, which everything comes from, and then you have other custom themes that do custom changes. So you could just make the changes you want for that seasonal sale or for that week-long sale, and you don't have to recode the whole theme or copy the whole theme, which allows you much easier changes so that the next year when you have the new sale, you don't have to now go back to your theme and find what changes you made, what you didn't. It'll automatically reflect those latest changes that you made to your default theme. So in this case, our package is default. There's different packages. There's one called base and one called default. We'll talk more about these different packages and how they apply to Magento. And there are also different themes. Now over here, we're looking specifically for our images in CSS. As you can see, it's blank. This doesn't mean that there's no theme. When the text field is blank, Magento automatically assumes the word default. So it'll look for the default package, and in the default package, it's going to look for a theme called default. Now, though this tells us which theme it is possible to change the theme somewhere else, which is sometimes a little tricky for beginners, and they get confused about where their theme was. So we go over here to System Design. We were before in System Configuration, and in here, it allows you to choose to make a design change. The idea behind the design change is similar to what we were talking about before, about having this week-long sale, where you could basically select another theme and say, oh, I want to use the modern theme now, and I want to do it from, today is the June 11th, I'm sorry, and and go till June 25th. And I could click Save, and then what will happen now is we'll go into our home page over here, we'll hit refresh, and you see it's a very different theme. Now, the idea is that if we go now back to System Configuration and go to our Design section, our themes still say that it's the package default and the default theme, even though it's not really true, even though we're really running the default modern theme. As you can see, the default package and the modern theme. This is something that's a bit confusing sometimes for beginners, so it's just important to point out. And what's cool about it is that you can make the theme change from a specific set of dates, and you don't have to worry about it. Once it hits June 26th, it's going to go back to the default theme, and you don't have to manage it and make sure that it's going to go back. This handles it for you. We're going to remove this design change because that's not the one we want to use. We want to go back to the default. We're just going to refresh our page here. And now we want to go back and change the logo, so we know we're in the default theme. Now, there's another place where, for the logo itself, there's a specific place where we could find this change, where the logo is set. Meaning, most images we'll have to find using a different method, but the logo's location, there's actually a place in the admin where we can set it. If we go back to System Configuration and then Design, you'll look in over here, there's the header section. Over here, there's the logo image source. It tells us that it's an images logo.gif. So let's go ahead and find where that is. I have over here my folder that has my Magento set up here, all the files. What we're looking for in the beginning, this looks like there's like a lot of files here. Don't worry about it. At first, we'll get to all of them, and it won't look as confusing as it does. This is one of the hardest things for beginners working with Magento, is that there are so many files that it's very easy to get lost in the mess here, in the haystack. But really, it's actually pretty organized, and the reason there's a lot of files is because it allows you to make lots of changes very easily, as we'll see in further lessons. The folder we're looking for in this case is we're looking for skin. As you can imagine, going back to over here, we're trying to change the logo, which is part of the look and feel of our site. But another way to put it is it's kind of like the skin of our site. It's not the body or the meat and potatoes of the site. It's really just a cover over the site for where end users will get to see how it looks like. So in Magento, they call it the skin. And in the skin, there's actually 3 sections. The first one is called, the last one here is called install. These are just the CSS and images for when you're installing Magento. That's where that is. The admin HTML is for the backend here, all the CSS for these pages here that you're seeing in the admin panel. We're looking for the front end, which is over here, this part here. This page here is the front end where users will see the customer facing. So we want to go into front end, and in front end, we have to choose which package we want to go into. So we know we want to go into the default package, and as you can see, there's plenty of themes here. We want to go into the default theme. Now, let's go back here and see, once we're in the default theme, let's look for where our logo image source is. It says it's an images logo.gif. So as you can see, there's a CSS folder, there's your fave icon, and then there's the images folder. We're going to look for logo.gif. Let's just see what this is all about. This is our logo. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take another logo. We're going to take our Ubuntu logo here. We're going to use that. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to put it into this folder. And as you can tell, it's over here on the bottom here, as you can tell, this has a different name. It's .png, Ubuntu logo.png. So I have 2 choices. I could change it to logo.gif, but that probably won't be a good idea in this case. We're just going to use this name, and we're just going to update this. And we're going to put it into here, Ubuntu logo 32.png. I'm going to save the configuration. And once I save the configuration, I'm going to go to the home page. I'm going to refresh. And now we have our logo. As you can see, this logo is very, very big and needs a bit of resizing. And we're going to do that in the next lesson. We're going to learn a little bit more about the CSS. What I wanted to show you a little bit is how you can find pretty much any image. Now that we know about the package and the theme, we could pretty much take any image on the site and go inspect element. I'm actually using Chrome, so if you right click and click inspect element, it'll bring this up. And as you can see over here, there's a source. So this actually you can open up the link and you can see the full source. Over here it's skin, front end, default. Again, it's the default package, the default theme. The skin we know is going to the skin section. This is telling you that we want to look in themes that are for the front end, for the customer facing, the default package, the default theme in the images folder. And in there, there's a folder called media, and this is the file that actually has this image. So if you want to change that image, you can just go right there and refresh it. I just might add that when you change an image with the same name, for example, if I, let's say, had a different image, a Ubuntu logo, and it was called callout.jpg right here, like this, just the same name, sometimes your browser will not refresh that image automatically, and the reason is because it has a cached version of that image. Sometimes you have to do a hard refresh on like Control F5 on Windows, and I think on Mac it's Command R possibly. I don't remember what the hard refresh is, but it's just something to keep in mind. Sometimes if you don't see your change right away, it's probably because you have a cached version, but somebody else coming to your site will see it. So sometimes you have to restart, flush your cache for your browser. You could Google that, flushing your browser cache. And for Chrome, Firefox, it'll come up very easily. That's it for this lesson. And next lesson, we're going to learn a little bit more about the CSS, where we can edit stuff, and how we can make those changes. Hope you enjoyed the video.